and that joy kind of naturally leads into wanting to connect with others. So maybe you could share a little bit. I mean, I know you guys have a mindful running group, and you've built a community over the years, but just talk a little bit about how mindful running has helped to build that sense of community, and maybe how it affects some of your relationships.
Great question.
Well, I think one thing is it brings us together in the community because we're affiliated with one another because we all like to do at least one thing, which is run together. Excuse me. And what I think we've really done a good job in our group, which really helps the community and the cohesiveness and the just the whole cooperation and the nice, wonderful time we have together, is number one is that we'll decide to run the pace whoever wants to run the slowest that day. It's not the slowest runner, that's different, because that would be me. But whoever wants to go slowest that day, could be me, could be Rock, could be somebody else, we all run together. Now occasionally we might go up a hill and someone wants to run hard, which is fine, but they always wait at the top of the hill, we regroup, we stay together. So there's a sense that we're taking care of one another. We're mindful of each other, and we're also mindful of the trap of that unspoken competition that goes on. Someone wants to be a half a stride of someone else, so they want to run up the hill, and the motivation might be to have some sense of superiority, which I used to have. And then on the other hand, if I'm not the one running up the fastest up the hill, I might develop a sense of inferiority, which I had. So that's the flip side of those two things. And back to a concept we were talking about earlier, is that that all comes from not feeling good enough on some levels, some sort of inadequacy that's many of us have, if not all of us have, and we're trying to prove ourselves and stack ranking with each other. So we're mindful of that dynamic, and that we don't want that dynamic in our group. We want full acceptance and being together. That makes a big difference in how you are with one another.
What's helpful for me, as Marty knows, is audience like this is just that it's okay to be late. We have a 5-minute rule, and so in the past, where I was going somewhere and say I had to get somewhere, I'd be rushing through traffic. It's like, oh, I have to get there. I have to be there at 10 o'clock for a run. But with our group, right? If I'm not, we have a 5-minute rule, but I know if I don't make it at 10, it doesn't really matter. No. We're still going to be friends, right?
Yeah, exactly. And here's how it applies. Here's how this applies. If you're mindful about the situation, some people are late occasionally, and then we end up waiting for them, and you feel a little bit of frustration possibly because you're having to wait. So looking at that and say, well, how could we prevent that from happening? Is it possible? That's mindfully taking a look at it. And the answer was, we'll have a 5-minute rule. So you don't have to let us know if you're going to make it or not make it. You can just either show up or not show up. But at 5 minutes, we're going. You don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about it. It's all been liberated. That's the benefit. And that comes from taking a look at it and being willing to look at it, which is a form of mindfulness.
And how many times have I missed a run? Been late? How many times over like the last 10 years?
Not very many.
No, because I want to be there.
Yeah.
I want to run with like Josh and Todd and Marty and all of them. I want to. It reminds me real quickly on our run this morning. We call it the running university, sort of. How's that a word? But anyway, we're talking about the myth of Sisyphus from Greek mythology in Camus. And we talked about that. So real briefly is that Sisyphus, as most of your viewers know, because I know you have smart viewers out there.
Well-read viewers.
Well-read. Sisyphus was, his fate was to, because he disobeyed the gods, was to roll the heavy rock up the mountain. And so he got to the top and roll back down. And the last lines in Camus' essay are, but we must imagine Sisyphus happy. And so I was thinking about this morning, and I'm like, well, you know what? Imagine ourselves happy. Well, I'm happy. What makes me happy? Well, it's running with my buddies this morning, and so I'm going to make sure that I'm there on time. So everything, once you do that, you're doing mindful, get to the tiger stage and get to the snow line stage. Then you know what makes you happy, and you act in such a way to make it happen, then I am happier. And it's a cycle that keeps going versus the other way, which we both tried.
In one community. So back to your question about running. Just imagine you're going to go to a race. And there's other people there that are coming to the race as well. And there's a little bit of a festive atmosphere around a race. And if you can hold that a little more loosely, if you can go there with the idea, I recognize that these are my fellow competitors that we're striving together to be better, or just there to have fun and let go of the outcomes. then you can really be open, much more open to others and they to you. So you have this sense of community and sense of well-being and coming together with a common base of the running event. And it's just one example. We can help each other with our training. And we find ourselves training with a partner, and secretly we want to be one step ahead of them or finish a little bit faster on the uphill. Just check in with that and say, really?
What's going on?
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's really not about that. I mean, all that really will do on a basic level is create sense of superiority if you're the one that did run up the hill faster, and a sense of inferiority if you didn't. And if you're of that kind of makeup, if you cultivate that kind of makeup, the one time you don't win and you're not up front, you will feel inferior because you've built something around feeling superior. It's the opposite side of the same coin.
Right.
So it's really important to be aware of that and just remove that from the whole scene.